listening to Strange Labeled.
Hello, this is the Chris Brake Show, live every Wednesday night on Strange Labeled, 8 p.m. Eastern Time. I'm Chris Brake. I'm sitting here with my good friend John Rapp and Jake, Mr. Go-Host. Jake. What's up, Jake?
I'm on time.
What's that, Jake?
Can you hear me?
No.
Uh-oh. Let's try this mic.
The mic's turned off. See, now that's what I was talking about, Jake, when I said some things might be different because I was using the equipment.
Yeah, something was different.
Yeah, all right.
I'm on time.
Jake's on time. Jake's on time. John, the drums sounded great. I think we're off to a good start.
It's going to be a banging show.
Banging. I don't know what that means.
It's a good thing.
That's a good thing.
I think it's a good thing.
Banging. That's a Miley Cyrus thing, isn't it? Or is that way older school than her? She's got the bangers, right? Isn't that her album?
The bangers.
Isn't Miley Cyrus bangers? Isn't that something? Am I making that up?
Bangers and mash?
I saw Miley Cyrus dressed up like shit, man.
I saw that too.
I don't think it really was.
You got to, shit, man.
But she had the giant shit man turd on her head.
Nobody has any idea who shit man is. John?
Green jello, the shit man.
Yeah, shit man. I got poo-poo on my shoe. Shit.
That's Dale J. Gordon's favorite song.
It is. I do remember him saying that. We have a guest today named David and his friend Patty. And these guys got proof. They've got serious proof that they may or may not talk about. I'm not sure, but I don't understand why you'd tell somebody. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan of telling somebody off the air, this is happening, but we can't talk about it. You know?
Right.
I understand if it's like, like, if I told you, Jake, hey,
What's up?
I don't know. But Jake, if I were to tell you, like, hey man, my grandma's dying, or something, you know what I mean? I don't really want to talk about it on the air. That's something I can understand. But if it's somebody who you don't need, they contact you specifically to come on the air to talk about this one thing, and then they tell you details, but they're like, well, we can't talk about that. No, I'm going to respect everything within the law, but it's strange.
They can talk about some of it, but not all of it, and I guess that's where we're at with it.
And that's fine.
But these people have evidence.
Evidence of what?
Of nanotechnology and gang stalking, all of that crazy stuff.
Let's remind everybody. Hopefully we get a hold of this guy. These fucking Canadians, man. We have so much difficulty getting them on the phone. This happened with Maya as well.
And Chris Brake.
Merry Christmas, Maya. Yeah, and Chris Brake, the Canadian who built the world's largest snowman. But,
what's going on with the airwaves up there in Canada?
So the gang stalking, if you're not familiar, it's a phenomenon, I guess. These people who are victims of gang stalking are called TIs, also known as targeted individuals. And gang stalking is when you are harassed by a large amount of people. And the motives that we've been told, we've talked to these guys a bunch on here before, and it's a fine line between believing them or not believing them, and they always want people to believe them. And I'm not going to sit there and call a guy a liar because I don't, what I mean?
Right.
I don't know any more than they do, But it's
sometimes it's hard to get the story out. It's like, what would you say is going on?
it's one of these conspiracy topics,
right?
And these guys suffer a lot. Like there's something going on that's really like affecting them being able to live their life, and they just want it to fucking stop. Yeah,
that is the gist of it.
Yeah, they just want it to stop, and for some reason I don't know how you get it to stop, but they want to tell everybody. And I think these guys are actually. They have, some women we've talked to said that one time she was protesting a golf course that they wanted to put in, and she was protesting directly a senator, some sort of politician. Then after that, weird things started to happen to her.
Yeah.
And they were sending electronic messages and beams into her apartment and shaking the infrastructure of her apartment while she was trying to sleep and like levitating her bed or moving her bed. And another one is they use this thing called V2K technology that allegedly transmits electronic messages directly into your brain. It's called voice to skull technology, V2K. And these are the types of issues that it's strange because they all agree. It's hard. It's real weird. Like basically, I Googled V2K one time, and it took me to a Wikipedia page, and the Wikipedia basically said this may or may not exist.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
And which if there is this whole they
Exactly
who can do all this stuff, they would somehow make it look like it. Oh, this is not real.
and they would be the government. They usually all agree it's the government,
Right.
from what I've been told. But where it gets even darker, so that's, So these guys, they usually, the way it works is, this is what you get. It's usually this V2K, and they piss somebody off, and they want them to just not be able to live their life, and they want them to kill themselves or something like that. But this goes even darker with this gentleman, because he says that he was born into a satanic cult, and he also says that he was MK Ultra. How would you say he's a victim of MK Ultra? Or
Yeah, I think that's the phrasing.
He was a test subject for MK Ultra.
Yeah, they used MK Ultra mind control on him.
Yeah, and MK Ultra is something that does exist and it is proven.
Yeah.
So that one's not. I mean, technically it's a conspiracy because a conspiracy is two or more people committing a crime, agreeing to commit a crime. So when you hear that word conspiracy, you get all weird. But
Right.
it just means two or more people trying to commit a crime. But what it was is it happened in San Francisco and it happened everywhere, but one of the main places was San Francisco. But MK Ultra is a if you've seen that TV show Lost, there's a scene where they go to get what is her name? What was that? That wasn't my ukulele, was it?
It might have been.
What is that girl's name? I don't want to spoil anything, but anyway, they take this one girl who has to go find her boyfriend, and he's been gone for a while.
Oh, yeah.
And they go into this room, and he's like strapped to a chair, and they have all these videos playing that are like pictures of family and little kids, and then it flashes to pictures of dead people, and just like a bunch of crazy shit, and they're pumping them full of drugs and just forcing them to watch all this stuff. And it was I think they created it as a way of they're trying to erase your memory, is why I believe they originally created it, the government. And they basically would just give people LSD and then show them all sorts of weird images and keep them drugged and fuck them up, and so they wouldn't remember certain things that were happening to it. And there's a woman, I can't remember her name, but she travels around with a former CIA affiliate. What CIA informant? No, not informant. I don't know all these technical terms. The guy was in the CIA, and he's traveling around with this woman because she was a victim of MK Ultra. And basically, according to her, what happened to her is that she was forced kind of into the sex trade among high politicians, and she claims that this happened to her ever since she was a kid, and that they would basically drug her and then take her as she was a young kid, and all these different senators and congressmen and stuff would share her. It's pretty fucked up shit. Do you remember her name, John?
Kathy O'Brien.
Yeah, Kathy O'Brien. Yeah, look up some videos of Kathy O'Brien. And it's weird that she has that CIA guy with her.
Yeah, you said that was her handler, right?
Well, that's what happens when you watch these conspiracies, because everybody knows MK Ultra is real. But then when you watch this woman talking about it, and she's got this guy who basically ended up feeling sorry for her and and rescued her from this, and now is taking care of her. Like people are saying that he's still handling her. That
she's still in it.
That she's still in it, because I guess a lot of people, if you've been a victim of this, you're supposed to go. What's this guy's name? Do you know?
I can look it up.
Yeah, you're supposed to go to this one guy who, is with Kathy O'Brien, and you tell him every single thing that happened to you, and you spend like a couple of weeks with him, and then apparently at the end, he tells you, oh, well, this didn't really happen to you.
Wow.
But he collects all your information. Yeah, something strange.
Mark Phillips?
Yeah, Mark Phillips. That sounds right. Does that look right?
Yeah, that's who it says is her handler when you type in Kathy O'Brien handler.
I don't want to pull a George McGovern situation.
Right. The true story about Mark Phillips. It is easy to see the above that Kathy O'Brien indeed has a new handler, Mark Phillips.
Yeah. It's weird. Jake, what do you think about this stuff?
It's weird.
Well, we all agree on that. The only reason why we're talking about it is because this fucking guy hasn't called us.
There was a mix-up with phone numbers, and somehow I wrote down his phone number and her phone number as the same phone number.
Oh.
Can't be the same phone number, though. And he gave me another number, but it's, Canadian. We can't call Canadian numbers on Google because Google is nice like that. And he couldn't get Skype to work on his phone.
I mean, could she get on a three-way phone call with this guy, then call us?
Let me try the number he gave us. Is that good?
The Canadian number?
I guess, I guess it's not Canadian. He just put a 1 in it.
Oh. John, I swear, if this is not a Canadian number, and you've been delaying this whole thing this whole fucking time.
It's possible.
We've been delaying for 15 minutes.
Okay, let's see.
You son of a bitch.
Hey, the weather's got me under it today.
Fucking tornadoes.
Tornadoes.
Oh.
The MK altered my brain.
Yeah, hello?
Hello, is this David?
Oh, yes.
Hi, David.
This is David.
What's
Hi.
up? Hey, this is Chris. You're sitting there with John and Jake.
Oh, yes, yes.
And John, you son of a bitch.
I'm sorry.
We thought you had a Canadian phone number. Otherwise, we would have called you sooner.
Oh, okay. That's okay, actually.
It was my fault.
So, yeah, that's okay. And so when do I go to the air?
We are live right now on strangelabel.com.
Oh, that is. Okay. So, yeah.
John, you want to get Patty on there?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
We'll just get right in this. Here's what I want to know the most, David. Thanks for coming on our show and talking about this and letting people know.
Yes, thank you.
But I'm curious, before we get into all the nanotechnology stuff, like, what do you mean when you say you're raised in a satanic cult?
I was born into some religion that I became aware of it when I was a very young child.
What religion?
I was actually taken into satanic ritual by a woman who actually was working in a playground.
A woman who was what? 14 in a playground?
Yes, I was actually 4 years old. 3 to 4 years old, and actually I realized in that time I was born into a satanic cult. And
what was the name of the religion?
Excuse me.
What was the name of the religion?
That was plain Satanism. They actually did let us into children ritual and tried to let us confess that Lucifer was a lord, and that was the main point. I never in that time did take part of the ritual, but I never went any more far into it. So
now, I mean, what is a lord really? Is Lucifer? I feel like, what is a lord? I mean, Lucifer is a lord, isn't he? So there's no shame in saying Lucifer's a lord, right?
Oh, yes, over this world, but from the Christian point of view, yeah, that's true, correct. And
is he a lord, John? Like,
if you follow him as your lord, I guess, yeah.
Well, not your lord, but I mean, like, is he, like, they call him the Dark Lord, or
I don't know. I would not call him lord, but yeah.
No,
well, not Lord, a Lord.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do.
We know there's more than one Lord because we got 10 Lords of Leaping, right?
Oh, yes, definitely. And so I actually realized in that point, I also attend what you call a church, Sunday school, and so I was familiar with, Christianity and all of that. And
so
but I realized...
you said the name of their religion was just pure Satanism?
Oh, yes. It's actually, they were connected to American Satanic cult. So, because we have an American base in Iceland, and so we actually, did have influence from American army back in there. So,
where's Patty at, John?
Excuse me?
It won't let me do this 3-way call.
Do you have to do it at the same time, or
I don't know.
Do you have to do it through Hangouts?
Maybe you have to do it, quote, through Hangouts, which it used to do through Gmail, and I just looked up how to do it on Gmail, and it says to do it the way I've been doing it, but it's not working.
Oh, no.
So we might have to start a Hangout.
Yeah.
Oh, that's horrible.
It really is.
Oh, yeah, that is. And actually, I realized I became a target from this Satanic cult from the start, and I've actually heard, because I did get Ted Gunderson into my case
Ted
6
Gunderson.
years ago. Yeah, was a well-known FBI agent, and he went into private investigation 1979, and he was a specialist into Satanic cult crimes. And I actually, when I did escape from my country, I actually found him on the internet, and he did take my case, and so he actually told me that they selected victim from the start, and so Satanic cult is very much a sadist action. They selected a victim to...
David, what kind of crimes were they committing?
They were actually in their Satanic cult is always cover up for criminal activity. They actually,
Hi, this is Patty.
They are involved.
Hey, David, we got Patty on the phone, but we have to call you back.
Oh, yeah.
We have to call you right back so that you can hear it. Hey, Patty, you stay on the phone.
Yeah.
Oh, should I stay on the phone?
Okay.
Can you hear each other?
Can you guys hear each other?
Not well. Actually,
No.
I'm outside.
I can hear you.
Okay.
I actually hear very much from
John,
traffic.
dictate this.
David, we'll call you right back, like in 2 seconds, okay?
Okay.
No,
Thanks.
Patty, you stay there.
Patty, hello.
Oh, okay. All right, I'll stay here then.
Thanks. Yeah, we have a situation where, Google's being a cock, basically.
It used to start a Hangout
we're
in
new
Gmail.
to this. We're new to this, so we're newbies.
I feel like we are too, to be honest with you. All right. So how's that working, John? So, Patty, how do you know David?
Well, we actually met each other online, discussing some of the weird things that were happening to us. And we both recently just got tested and found out that we were victims of this crime.
What crime?
So we've had a lot to talk about.
What crime was it?
Well, we both have. Well, David will tell you his situation, but we both have been. We've both been implanted with things that should not be in our body. That has brought us to a situation where we've been tortured. It's non-consensual human experimentation.
Why do you think they're doing that? That's something we usually ask people. Like, why you, you know?
Well, that was something that we all struggle with. We try to go through our past and think, was there something we had did, or, why me kind of thing. But honestly, this is just a crime that picks people that they feel are most vulnerable. Maybe you don't have a strong family support. There's a lot of books written on it, and Dr. John Hall did some research in his book, Guinea Pig, and he basically says 70% are single women. So that's kind of how it goes.
Well, yeah, we haven't heard that statistic yet. It's usually men that we speak to. Now, why would they choose women?
A lot of women are single and not a strong family support, raising children, or, just basically, I personally just think that they're bad people and they look for weakness. And they're bullies. They're like the bullies that were on the playground. They look for someone that they can victimize easily.
So you think they're doing it just for fun?
No, they're paid big money. This is a big money project. All you have to do is Google brain mapping or,
brain mapping.
Google all these, brain mapping. Right now there's all these experiments going on for brain mapping that was funded by the government. So this is big money. Nobody's doing this for free. And I'm not saying that, some people aren't involved because they're just evil and they love to torture people. I'm sure that's part of it too. Because, if somebody came to you and I and said, hey, will you do this? We would say no. It takes a certain kind of person to be involved in this crime.
John, what's going on now? We got David back on the. Hey,
Google
David.
changed everything.
Yeah, we got David back on the phone, but I believe David and Patty still can't. So this is not operating like a three-way phone call, right, John?
Yeah, not yet.
Is it supposed to be?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Should we call David back again?
Oh.
Uh-oh. Hello.
I'm here. I can.
Okay. Could you hear David? Patty?
Yeah, I can't hear David. No.
Okay. Yeah, we don't know. This is a headache over here. Now, one thing that we really wanted to talk to David about, but we can't. We're having problems getting him on the line at the same time. Is he said that he was a victim of MK Ultra experimentation. Are you familiar with that? Were you a victim of MK Ultra as well?
Well, everybody that's in these experiments have a little bit of a different story. So David and I's stories are not exactly the same. He was born into this and was a victim as a child. Mine didn't start till about 20 years ago. So we have two different stories, but the torture is similar.
Well,
things we experience.
The reason why I was asking you is, well, first of all, he's not on the phone, but second of all, we're having problems speaking to him because there's a language barrier happening. I think he's having problems hearing us, as on top of us slurring our words and us not having the best grammar. So that's why I was just kind of asking you questions.
Well, David is an implant victim. Okay, I'll give you that much. He's an implant victim, and he has recently proved the crime. And so there's more testing and experiments and documentation he needs to get done, but that much is 100% sure.
Okay. And he was telling us, I really wanted to hear about the satanic cult, but I don't think he could understand the questions that we were asking him. Let's see. Is he?
Hello?
Hey, David.
Yes.
David, can you?
Hi.
Patty, can you hear David this time?
Barely.
Yeah. I can hear it.
It's probably coming through your headphones around your neck, John.
Yeah.
Yeah, can you hear him now?
Yes, I can hear. Yeah, actually, I am outside, so I hear the traffic very much. So I
Well, can you go inside?
Oh yeah, I'm gonna try here in a better location. Okay.
I can hear him now. I can hear him in the distance.
Okay.
Okay.
Well,
okay.
Hopefully that works.
Oh yeah.
Yep. All right, guys. I have no idea what the hell we're talking about now. Thanks for being patient with us. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
The next. Okay, so David, here's what maybe Patty can help answer this too, because I think that we're having problems hearing each other. David.
Yeah.
When you were in the satanic cult, what type of rituals or crimes did they do to you? Like, did you see anything illegal happen, like such as torture or sacrifice?
They actually were not into human sacrifice, but they were into what we call sadist torment. They use actually both mind control and also into a torment to actually break your spirit down. And that's what they actually do. And they are use the doctrine of the mind control to do that. And
now, what scares me is what you're describing doesn't sound too much different from Mormonism or Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yeah.
It sounds pretty similar, just with two different gods.
Yeah, that does. And actually what they do is they actually, like in many of the cult religion that is based on the mind control, that's also into field of narrow-mindedness. They actually use in the satanic cult abuse, emotional abuse, to actually break people down for actually reasons. So the satanic ritual abuse is into that field to actually terrify people into to let them obey what they want them to do, actually.
So the goal of them breaking you down is for them to, the goal of them torturing you is to mold you into exactly the type of person they want you to be?
Yeah, to actually victimize people into to be a weak person, so they will actually have the full control over you. So
easily subjectable.
Yeah. So that was actually when I was a child. I realized when I did grow older that actually that was I was actually selected victim for actually them, and actually Ted Gunderson did pointed out many of the satanic cultists into human or children experimentation, that we come into MK Ultra and also Monarch to program.
What exactly is MK Ultra?
Well, I mean, that is.
I have a pretty good idea what it is. I've read a lot about it, but just I wanted you to explain to the listeners what exactly happened to you with MK Ultra.
Actually, because I was born in Iceland, they did use slighter version of it. It's more to programming the victim into. There was a many program actually that came out from what I have heard from CIA, and so that was trying to actually, what I understand, to mold the person into specific pattern of personality, and so we actually did have this slight version of it. Actually, there was, like I told, was an American cult that was over it, and that was like a Icelandic cult was under them, and they were part of this American cult. And
now, what type? I'm sorry to interrupt here, but what type of person with the MK Ultra were they trying to turn you into?
They actually did try to hypnotize me and use hypnosis when I was 4 years old, and but that actually they started to do that, but they did not finish that to do so because there was interfere from one woman who knew what they were doing, and she did stop it.
Oh,
so she came
So what type were they giving you? Drugs or making you watch videos, or what type of programming or hypnotism?
They did use actually symbols of signs and symbols to actually hypnotize under hypnosis and let me describe each symbol what I was seeing, and so they actually did use that, and that is what I actually remember, but I think some of it I don't remember still today, but that was under hypnosis.
Have you ever gone to anybody who can, like do hypnosis to find out what exactly happened to you that you don't remember?
No, I have not done that yet. Actually, I will. No, I have not worked with. That is called, of course, many people who come from that background go into therapy to work with the issue from the satanic cult, the mind control, and the MK Ultra and Monarch and all of that, to actually identify what they did do to you, and also for evidence for court case when people have a court case to evaluate it, that what they actually did do. Actually, I have not done that yet.
Do either one of you two have an opinion on John? What was that woman's? Was it Kelly?
Kathy O'Brien.
Kathy O'Brien. Do either one of you two have an opinion on Kathy O'Brien?
Yes, actually, I had read her book,
I
and
personally
it was
don't have
an
enough
amazing book, and she
information.
have a very strong testimony, and she actually,
To give you a
I like what she had been doing, and she actually have come forward with her case, and also her book was a very remarkable book, and without a doubt, and also to point out this operation, because she was one of the many. I think there was many other women who came also forward, but she became most well known from them. And that was a very good project what she did. And she came with a very good point with a mind control and all of that, and indoctrination of that. I think she was a victim of either Monarch or MK Ultra.
Yeah, what is that called? Is it Operation Monarch? What is Monarch?
Monarch, and that both comes from experimentation from CIA, and so actually that it came from CIA, and that also. The difference, I don't remember really.
I know they go hand in hand.
Yeah.
You see that with they call it sex kitten programming.
Oh yeah, that all come from CIA, and that both Monarch, MK Ultra, it's all under the experimentation that was trying. There was so many projects that came, and the difference was, of course, I because I have read about it, but I have not gone into very much detail.
They say all the celebrities. They say celebrities are on that, like Miley Cyrus and all of them.
What is sex kitten training? Is that what they did to Kathy O'Brien?
I don't know.
That was Kathy O'Brien, and also the many of that programming is for actually, like she was a sex slave. And so that was programming to be a sex slave. And that goes, probably they're playing with the unconscious mind and into the hypnosis and to program people. And this actually I would have the notes in front of me, because then you can actually go over it. And when you haven't go over it for a long time.
There's a lot of stuff.
Now, John, are you saying that you've read people claim that Miley Cyrus was a sex slave?
Not necessarily a sex slave to be traded, but is under the MK Ultra Project Monarch training, and that's how they get her to do all that crazy sexual stuff that you see her doing.
But I think a lot of, I don't know about you. I mean, I don't know if you guys have been to a strip club or not, but it doesn't. I don't think all those girls are under, Operation Monarch. It only takes a couple dollars to get them to do that crazy stuff. So.
Oh yeah.
Do you see that?
I have a comment on this.
Yes, please.
Hold on, David. Patty's going to say something real quick.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yes, I just wanted to say that there is a sexual element to this crime, and there is a difference when they can take a person who, is like a soccer mom, and turn her into something that she's not, and that's the crime. In other words, it's not like your typical stripper. This is like they can get on your brain with these weapons and make anyone whatever they want.
Yeah.
And that's the scary part about this whole thing.
Kind of like...
So they are slaves.
I totally agree.
A slave. And I personally had that weapon on my mind. And you feel very powerful. You feel very different. And this could be happening to you, and you don't even understand what's happening. I mean, you realize something is different. So this is the technology that's available today that is extremely, extremely dangerous, because there's so many people they're using this on.
Yeah, the thing that freaks me out too with like the early programming to make like say the sex slaves or whatever, like they obviously they'll drug them and stuff or hypnotize them, but really all they have to do is just repeatedly sexually abuse them as kids, and we know that for the most part that turns them into that type of person who is just I guess not, I don't want to say sex fiend, but I mean somebody who is more likely to become the person you want them to become if you're using them specifically for sex. If you're programming.
That's true.
I don't know if that makes sense. But yeah, it's kind of what you were saying, Patty, reminded me of that episode of Law and Order SVU with Pacey's old boss. And she was like a teacher or a principal, and everything was fine. And then one day she started sleeping with one of the students. And, and she got charged and, was in love with this guy or whatever, might even gotten pregnant. And, but she'd never done anything like that before. And they found out that she had a tumor. By the end of the episode, she had a tumor in her brain that was causing her to behave in this manner. And once they removed it, she had no feelings. She wanted nothing to do with that guy. So.
Well,
if that's real.
These are beam weapons.
Yeah.
So that is a very good illustration of what I'm trying to say. Each part of our brain does something different. So they have the technology that they can actually tap into that and focus on that particular area. And so that a brain tumor is just a good example of what the similarities would be to the weapons.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
So what happened to you, Patty? Like what are they doing to you?
Well, I had a pretty normal life until about 20 years ago, and I had a bunch of strange things happening where I had weird break-ins, vandalisms. Nobody could ever be caught. It didn't make sense to the police. I had like all kinds of bizarre things going on. And part of the takedown with any of this experimentation is they have to have you off balance. They have to take you through. So it's actually the same kind of programming that David's talking about, where they start taking your life apart and you don't know what's happening, and then of course the tests start. And so with years and years of bizarre things happening, I started to have weird things happen, like heart palpitations that came out of the blue. But when I'd go to the doctor, they'd say, we don't see anything that would cause that. Or I was passing out in public. I had cracks to the head where I had to go to the hospital. And here they were using these directed energy weapons on me. They were actually testing them. And I had no idea what was happening. I just knew that my health was declining, and nobody seemed to have a good explanation for it. Yep. And so I also went through a 3-year period of time that I had a weird alternation of my personality. So this is how I know this can happen, and I experienced that myself where I was a different person. But what really drew me to what was happening was I had...
Oh, sorry. What do you mean you were a different person?
Well, I was, I was raising my children by myself. I was involved in their sports and what have you. And I woke up one day and I was just like a different person. I didn't know. I was just, like it wasn't me anymore.
What do you mean?
And
were you more sexual?
I was like, you use the word sex kitten, but I wouldn't go to that extreme. I was just a different person. And all of a sudden I had people contacting me trying to get me into that underworld. And I couldn't understand why or how it was happening. See, I didn't know that I was in the middle of these experiments.
You said they were trying to get you to make pornography, right?
Well, they were trying to, yeah. That's what they were trying to do with me.
So they turned on the mind control and then tried to get you to do porno? Is that how it went?
Yes, exactly.
Huh.
And
because another guy we talked to about the porno.
They almost had me, but it didn't work because I have children and I just couldn't go that route. It just was something in me that stopped me. But I didn't know that I couldn't understand what was happening to me because I didn't even feel like the same person. It was a very, it's a very hard thing to explain. But when they stopped that experiment, I started feeling like myself again, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what just happened to me? And then I started getting heavily gang stalked. And that's when I realized that something was going on that beyond what I understood. I thought it was really bad luck and bizarre things that were happening. But when you have, hundreds of people letting you know that they're gang stalking you, then...
How do they let you know?
Well, they did different things like, first it would be all young guys, all around the same age going by, and they'd all look. They make sure you notice them.
Well,
or they'll do some...
Are you like particularly weird looking or particularly hot looking? That they would, you know what I mean? That they would just draw their eye?
Well, I think that I thought that for a while. That's what it was. I was, I figured maybe they'd seen my pictures online or something. I didn't know what it was. But then there were girls in hoods that were following me. Then there were older people, seniors following me. And they, and racing around me, and they'd have me almost in a military stance wherever I was going. So they made it very obvious, I'm here.
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah.
Well, it was. And I always enjoyed driving. I liked traveling. I was getting so where I didn't even want to go out of the house. They were going up and down the road. And so my oldest son is like, Mom, you probably, gone on some sites you shouldn't have been on, and this is what happened. I said, no, this is not what's happening. This is very bizarre. Well, the day I knew...
You got a virus. Now you got people following you everywhere you go.
Oh, yeah, and they let you know. I mean, they're scary people. I mean, there's something weird about these people, okay? It's not like they're normal people.
One guy...
when you look at them.
One gentleman we were talking to once... after he was on our show, because, me and John Rapp do this show here, and after he was on our show, he sent John an email and told him that they sent somebody who looked exactly like John Rapp to follow him.
Well, they do stuff like that. They do. I mean, it's like they spend a lot of energy on doing this weird stuff. And at first it really works till you realize what they're doing. I mean, to me, it was extremely terrifying. I mean, I got off all the websites. I tried to but nothing stopped it.
What websites? What websites were you on?
Oh, I was on like cougar sites, and I mean, it was just ridiculous. I mean, and it was just like I said, I was like not myself for like 3 years.
I've always wanted to go to one of those sites, but I think by the time I discovered them, I feel like I was probably too old.
But basically, that was the thing they were trying to get me to do, that MILF porn is what their goal was. And so that was the plan. And so that was the direction they took me in. And so when I didn't give in to that, then they turned it to another, because this is like human trafficking, like they're making money on you any way they can. So I was out and just doing my regular errands, and I got burnt by somebody and zipped by me in a car and burned me. And when I got home, I had a big burn on my back. And I was crying because it hurt really bad. And it was lasers. That's what they burnt me with. It was a laser burn. And that's when the weapons really picked up. The weapons were used on me before, on occasion, but this is when it started, 24 hours of weapons. And that was 6 years ago.
Is this still happening now?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's still, but, I have proven the crime now. But at first, keep in mind, I was the kind of person, I was in marketing. I wrote TV commercials when I was younger. I was, I just had no background in the fact that these kind of things happen to everyday people. So I had no way of, nothing in my brain to even think what was happening to me. So I Googled cars rushing me, and then I Googled something, burnt me, and I seen it. It was like a light. I could see the light, and some of them were gold, some were blue. And so after the lasers, then there were these things called masers, and I had some pictures, that I had actually caught these weapons. So as I started doing the research, I realized that for whatever reason, some gang of people were using these weapons on me. And they would laugh as they would go by with these lasers. They thought it was funny. These were young people, too, all ages.
Did you ever get any pictures of these people?
I did. I got pictures. I got plates. And I tried to explain, to the police what was happening. And I had, ridiculous statements. Like I told the police officer I have a gang who's following me, and they have weapons. And he said to me, get your own gang. I said,
what?
He said, if you got a gang, you got to get your own gang. And so I said to him, well, I'm 56 years old. Where am I going to find a gang? He said, you'll have to find them. And I said to him, okay, if I get a gang, I said, this gang has weapons. Can we use weapons? He got real quiet. I said, it doesn't make any sense for me to get a gang if we can't use weapons because that gang has weapons. I said, I'm just in trouble now. And I realized I was going to get nowhere, and I left. But at least I had something.
What kind of doctor was this?
A cop.
Oh, it was a cop?
Yeah, that was police.
What? He told you to get a gang. So he basically was talking to you like you're crazy.
Exactly.
Like he was fooling around with you.
He didn't believe that they had these weapons. But all you have to do is Google how to make a laser. I mean, this stuff is there. And I was trying to, I realized he wasn't an open ear. But if I do get an open ear, I tell them, look, just Google how to make a laser. I mean, you could buy it for $200. All this stuff that's been happening, these people you can make lasers. These people that can make a particle beam. These things are realistic now in today's technology. They're learning this stuff in physics.
Do they send messages into your head?
I don't have that's called V2K. I don't have that.
Okay.
I have no V2K. They just basically have done these experiments with brain mapping, and that's what I was told is probably the experiment that I'm in at present.
Is there any way to get some of it out, like through willpower, or does it all have to be done physically?
I'm just telling you how I felt when they had it on my brain, and I was under the control. I mean, I felt like a different person. There's no way to describe it. It's a very dangerous technology. Very dangerous. And I felt very powerful, charged. There's like an energy with it.
That's horrifying.
Indestructibles has how to make a powerful burning laser for cheap. It's $9. You can make a laser that burns stuff.
What?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Isn't that how they do? Oh, yeah. We always forget about that because I'm sitting around here thinking, oh, that sounds crazy. People driving around shooting you with lasers. But then I think about it. It's like, wait, don't they do that at the dentist and with your eyeballs,
Yeah,
surgery? That is really common.
Well, all this technology can be used for good. Even when they have what's called a microwave weapon, where it's actually a square and it puts radiation out. And they have handheld microwave weapons. They have handheld, like a X-ray weapon. Those are real. I mean, if you Google them, and how do they test these things? How do they get them to the market? How do they get them to find out, hey, what's the side effects of using lasers on someone? Or these are called non-lethal weapons. Well, that's what they were doing to me, testing these weapons on me.
That's nuts. Didn't they? Wasn't there a subway car where they did that once in New York City? Did they pump in like vaporized LSD or something like that? Like
I've heard that for sure.
There's plenty of accounts of the government testing, like declassified stuff where the government really did, put
LSD in the water.
Test things.
Test their own people.
That was in France, wasn't it? The LSD in the water?
Maybe.
Patty had sent me a photo of
I can
them.
I can tell you this, that if the government funds these tests, all you have to do is look up the BRAIN initiative that was just signed. The difference is they're already doing these tests before they ever admit it to the public. And secondly, they don't get their hands dirty. They hire independent contractors. And that's how the gang stalkers and this very bad group like David and I were talking about, a lot of them are Satanists and people in cults, and they're hired to conduct these experiments. because those are the type of people that are willing to do it. But there's we're talking billions of dollars in funding from federal government, and they do not track the money, what happens, nothing.
Now, what do you think about...
I'm sorry?
I've read on Wikipedia. I just want your opinion on this. Like, on Wikipedia, an article said that it was referring to gang stalking and referred to kind of as this phenomenon where all these people are saying this is happening, but most psychiatrists would diagnose it as schizophrenia, but these people have formed their own group and found each other and are sharing this information, be it true or false, and they're able to cope and not have to go to the psychiatrist. And he said that it was a very interesting thing that he's never seen before, and he doesn't know if it's good or bad either way, but it seems to be helping in one way or another, either by making it go...
It's terrible. I mean, it's really degrading, and this is why the people that are victims of this crime never get help. I mean, it's ridiculous that all of us from different areas, all these people from different backgrounds, I have no mental background at all. Why do we all come up and suddenly start saying it's almost so bizarre for him to, or whoever wrote that, to come to that conclusion?
You have no history. So you have no history.
Instead of just somebody investigating it,
Yeah, so you have no history of like schizophrenia in your family at all, is what you're saying?
No. Well, no, I was extremely functioning. That's extremely functioning when this started happening. It took them many years to work me into a position where I felt vulnerable and weak.
How old were you when it first started happening, did you say?
Well, I was in my 30s.
Okay.
And actually it happened a little bit prior to, but I always tell people when it amped up was 19 years ago, and I'm 57. And so, I have the proof now what happened. They can say whatever they want, but I have the proof. And the problem is when they say that to people and discredit them, nobody investigates or takes it seriously. And that is where the problem is. And a lot of these discrediting sites and trolls that get on when people talk are government agents and people that are in this business making money trying to discredit us. And that's how they've gotten away with it as long as they have. But what happened is some people started getting tested. They got scanned. They found out they had implants. They found out they had all these things going on that were illegal.
So implants really were found?
Yes.
How many implants have they found so far, do you know?
Well, the thing of it is what was found and who won the cases. I know there were several cases that were won recently, and James Walbert is one of them. And there's a lot of people that are in the court system. What do you mean? What do you mean won? Like, what were they claiming? What were they claiming? Well, to help you understand this a little better, because this is very complicated. Okay, if I'm walking down the street and somebody from a car is able to reach me with weapons, there's a reason why they can reach me. There's a technology in my body. This is what they're testing. A lot of times it's not a full-blown implant. It's nanotechnology. And your body, they have sensors in you that when they trigger those weapons, that's why they call them directed energy weapons. You get hit. So you can actually be standing next to someone, take a bad hit, and that person feel nothing. And so when we started getting tested, more and more people were coming up with this stuff in their body that shouldn't be there. And,
what was in there?
Pardon me?
What was in there? Just microchips?
Well, David had actual implants, and mine was nanotechnology. There's all different kind of things.
Yeah, what's the difference?
A nanotechnology is just that nano. It's so tiny, it's like a piece of pepper. And I don't know if you've ever read, you might want to look up the article, Smart Dust, how the government is, spraying the smart dust, and that, and it was actually discussing how, that goes into your body, and it's almost like you're a radio tower when that's in you. You're emitting radiation. So all
I got to tell you, Patty, that is the scariest thing you've said this whole day. Like this whole interview, that one just freaked me the fuck out.
Yeah.
Well, that's how they get the nano in you.
You can breathe it in. You can breathe in the nanotech.
Or you can eat it. I mean, you can have a meal prepared for you, and one of these people are involved. That's how it gets in you. And they're so tiny. I mean, it's like a speck of pepper. How would you know?
That's got to be very expensive, though, right?
That's why they're testing all this. That's why this is happening. See, they're testing it to see, there's money that's funding this.
What would be
you can look it up and even just Google nanotechnology in universities. They're studying this.
Yeah, what would be the goal of that? Because right now it sounds like on the island of Dr. Moreau, when Val Kilmer's got that little, machine that he presses, turns up, and all the monkey people drop, or they're like, it goes in their ears. Does anybody know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, Val Kilmer is able to control this race of people that they created because they had installed this chip into them when they were babies without them realizing it. So they just thought that he was a god or something.
These are all very dangerous technologies, very dangerous.
Yeah.
How do you stop it? Is there a way to shield yourself from the nanotechnology and all this stuff, or have you found a way to make it easier to handle it?
Well, you can shield from the weapons. There's different shielding. Like if you look up just say how to shield from electromagnetic weapons. That's when they say that the communities have got together. We share information with each other. It depends on what kind of weapons they're using. If they're mapping your brain, you get a thump to the head. It's very, very painful, and it's usually, some people get satellite hits. I mean, there's a variety of things that are happening to the people that are in these tests. It's very, very scary.
That sounds like an incredible name for a cartoon character. Did you say satellite head?
No, satellite hits.
Oh, I wish you did. You said some people get satellite head. I thought you were referring to that as like a side effect of something that happens to you. Man, I got that satellite head real bad.
No, it's the actual hit from satellite. They can deliver a hit from a satellite. And another thing is I've had a drone on my home for 5 years. And I lived, in the country with a little land, so it's not like it just happens to be there. And that was also proven. I paid someone to do a search. And I can't say who put it on me, but it was quite scary.
But did you find out that it wasn't just some neighbor guy who just likes to fly his drone?
It was quite frightening when I found out, but I can't tell you right now.
I know you can't tell us who. Can you tell us anything? I mean, was it a neighbor guy who was just flying around his drone? Okay.
No, and that's what I thought originally, but no. This drone was registered through the DOD, Department of Defense. That's all I'm going to say.
What the fuck?
Now, when you said that that these people won their case, like what were they trying to prove? Like what was the charge? What were they accusing?
Well, the reason that we're all in an uproar is that if somebody's mapping their brain or testing these weapons, this is extremely painful. We are being tortured, and we have not consented to this. So now there's the technology to find out who is doing this. There's actual ways that they can do it through, there's a toxologist who can find.
So they figured out who did it.
The Wahlberg case.
They can actually trace it back. Yes, they can.
The Wahlberg case?
For example, if you have an implant, it actually has a number on that implant. If they find it and they pull that out, it's got a number on it. They can trace it.
So they were able to prove where this implant came from.
Well, there's a variety of places. A lot of different people have said hospitals.
In a court of law, like
it was. It says the defendant in the Wahlberg case. The court he persuaded the court that his defendant was using electronic weapons against him and his family. That's what it says here. That doesn't make any sense when I read it, though. Wahlberg persuaded the court
that's exactly what's happening
that the defendant was using electronic weapons against him and his family.
Who was the defendant?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know. Maybe they sealed. Sometimes they seal these court cases so that you never really know. Sometimes there's gag orders put on with the settlements. I mean, there's a lot of things happening. But it's not good, and it's very scary to think that this can happen in a country where we're supposed to be free, and that you should be able to go in and say, look, something is happening to me and I need help. A lot of people even call the FBI. I personally did. I was told someone would reach out to me, but I never got a call. I also did some online. The big part of this is surveillance. They're on your computers.
Your call has been forwarded to a voice.
And so, if anybody was even trying to help the victims, they could get on there, the FBI, and see who is doing this. But they're not doing it. They're not helping. And the reason is because they know we're in this program. They know it.
Oh, sir.
And they've been told hands off, hands off.
Yeah, when some cops trying to, investigate, and they're like, "No, man, this goes higher up than that. We're working for the feds. This is our case. Let this drug deal continue. We've got to bust the guy in charge."
Exactly. And sometimes people will show up. Like I've had people, I'll be getting a doctor that's starting to help me, and I'll watch the person go in. And I don't know what they say, but it's basically, don't get involved, and that's what happens. You have people that start to help you, and all of a sudden, we call it turning them. Somebody turned them, And they have the badge, they have the credibility, but in all honesty, these are very bad people. They should not have that authority. And this is illegal. It's a crime, and it needs to be called a crime,
So are you trying to prove that this is happening to you? Do you have proof on your own that you can take to court?
I have proof, yes. And I actually have lawyers who want the case. I can't talk about it because I don't have all my stuff in yet. But I am also, I've been talking to other victims and letting them know that there is a way to prove this crime. The technology has caught up with the crime. In the beginning, they were ahead, and there was no way to prove it. I mean, if you said, hey, I'm getting hits to the head as I drive, and there's nobody there, that's satellite hits. If somebody had said that, they'd say, oh, you got mental problems or something. Well, now they've proven that this is actually being tested.
Now, who are you? Who will the defendant be? Who would you be suing?
Well, I can't talk about myself, but I will talk about the people who that are already out there. And basically, sometimes it's,
Would you be suing
an
individual or a group? Could you say that?
No. Well, you can sue an individual because sometimes there's neighbors involved that have allowed them to break in and out of your house without saying anything. They can. But bottom line, this is much bigger than that, okay? We're talking universities, military experiments. This is big money. And those are the people that are behind it. And each person goes through the research and has to find out who in particular has done this to them.
Man, I don't think they'll ever admit to this. I want to know more about that Wahlberg case.
Yeah, it said the defendant never showed up in court.
Who's the defendant?
I don't know. It never says it.
So the defendant never even showed their face.
Well, the only reason these programs work is because they're covert. They hide and they're good at what they do. These are professional people that are used to doing these kind of things. And we know because over the years different things have come out where they were testing syphilis on people, men in Africa, and all the things that the government's done. And they said, "Oh, we're not going to do this anymore." Well,
Tuskegee experiment,
they don't do it.
I said Tuskegee experiment, bro.
Yeah, that's what it was. And the thing of it is that they didn't end it there. All they did was they hire independent people to keep their hands clean.
Oh.
And yeah, government contractors.
That's what the sweatshops do. They they're not allowed to use child labor and have all these sweatshops. So what they do is they pay a company who handles all that so that they don't get their hands dirty, and they'll just say, oh well, this company had good standards, and then they go and they find it all gets blamed on somebody else, and that's how the whole system is arranged.
Right.
So for slave labor.
And you think about it, these like cancer tests or whatever, and they say, well, 20 people were exposed to toxins over a period of 10 years along with such and such and such. I mean, who's going to volunteer and say, hello, expose me to toxins for 10 straight years? Where do they get these people? Nobody ever asked that question when this data is put together.
Jeremiah Redford, he's the one that did it to him, to Walbert.
Patty, we have a defendant, Jeremiah Redford.
Yeah, he used to work for him. Walbert used to work for him, but then Jeremiah Redford threatened him with jolts of radiation after a disagreement over a business deal. This is from Wired.com.
Okay, so he just he just threatened him though, or did he actually do it?
I haven't read the whole article.
No,
that's
he was torturing him. Yeah, but I'm saying but when you get into it, he could just be what we call a perpetrator. He is just one of the people that's involved in that. Normal people are not going to have these weapons and start using them on people. He had some kind of connection to all this.
But apparently you can make them for $9.
Well, he had an implant, so it went further than that.
Mm.
Oh, did they mention the implant in the case, John? Or not? I know you didn't read the whole thing.
Yeah, he had an implant. They found it.
This implant just sounds insane to me.
How did they do the implant?
So that guy was, so just to give you a picture, that guy was probably contacted to do this. And yes, he was the lead man, or sometimes there's a particular person that heads up that experiment. But the bottom line is it's much bigger behind all that. Because how did he get the implant? And that's how he tortured him, because he had an implant. And that's basically the bottom line.
Jake just showed me a picture of implant. Jake, I know what those implants look like. There's a picture of a guy holding an implant in his finger. I've seen those. Are those, what do they call those? The RIDAs or something?
That's James Wahlberg.
That's James Wahlberg. Oh, there we go. That information would have been good. So it's a picture of James Wahlberg with now is that his finger holding the implant?
Yes.
Oh, so he did have an implant.
Yep.
Yeah.
Patty, why did we doubt you?
There's lots of people that have them.
Well, it's 2 pictures.
Yeah, it's 2 pictures. His face isn't in it, so it could be a fake. Hello?
I don't know. I think on the documents, I actually got to see the documents that he had, and that just may be because I know people. But no, they have a picture, an X-ray, where you could see them.
Oh, damn.
So, yeah. But, that's why I'm saying you have to have something in your body in order for them to target you with these weapons. It's not that easy. They'd have to be really close to jolt you with electricity. I mean, they could do this from a distance up to 60 feet.
We lost David a long time ago.
Yeah, I tried calling back and went straight to voicemail. Did his phone die? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I guess David's phone died.
Oh. Well, they may have cut him off, too, because we go through stuff like that if they don't want him talking. But the bottom line is that,
I love it. You seem so
these are evil people.
Well, she said that to me before. She was like, hopefully the phones won't mess up.
You seem so casual and unconcerned by that. You're like, oh, they probably just cut them off. They do that. Like you're referring to the government, like putting a silence, on you, like, that happens.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Well, I'm going to tell you this: there's the good, and there's the bad, and they're all mixed in. Okay, and there are people fighting for us. We don't know who they are, but there are. And, the truth of the matter is that some people are just fed up with all these programs.
So you think there might be some good guy involved in that program, like an Edward Snowden or somebody who's like, today let's...
I think there has to be. I think there has to be, or we wouldn't have survived. I mean, just now I'm talking to you. There's no way they'd let me do this. Somebody's watching out. I'm telling you.
Wow.
No, they watch out. There's good guys and bad guys, and they're all mixed in.
So he's probably sitting there listening to this interview, and he goes, "Yeah, David's really butchering this whole explanation. David's not doing a lot for the cause today. He's making him sound crazy. So
let's go ahead and
let's put the intelligible one on the phone."
No, actually, how it works is, if he's got a perp that's got more access to his phone, he could have just got shut off. So I don't think but I mean, I really do believe that, David, and even David's had a lot of contact with the FBI, and they have listened to him. He's had some response because they're familiar with the satanic cults. And this is punishment for him not going that way. That's why he has the weapons. And of course, they make money on him with the experiments. See, these are all interlinked. Just think of, criminal activity. These people they're all linked into the same thing. They take whatever jobs they can get, and none of them are good. None of them.
Oh.
I hope I made this simple enough for you.
I know. I believe you did.
Simpler than David would have.
You know.
No, hey, let's not bash David just because he's not
I'm
here.
just saying.
He did a good job.
No, it was no David. David was great. It was the accent. It was purely the accent. That was it.
Very much.
That was the only thing.
That was partly why he had me as a backup. We because he knew that it could be difficult for you to understand him on the phone. Yeah. And after talking to David for a while on the phone, I can hear him better, but it was hard at first. So he knew that. That's why I kind of was in on the mix.
I like that guy.
It's a good guy there.
But he was tortured as a child. And I don't know how much, I couldn't hear anything he was saying, but he suffered horrific things. And, you know...
well, see, we didn't hear that. We didn't hear that. We were trying, you know what, I think it goes beyond it might be a language thing, but I don't know. He wasn't going into that. He was just saying, you know, he was...
maybe he didn't want to talk about it.
Terrible torture, you know.
As a child?
You know, he was born into it. You know, he was born into it. I mean, some people are born into these families, and they believe in this stuff. And, you know, there was a lot of sexual torture and other things, and maybe it's hard for him to talk about it. I don't know.
See, didn't I ask him directly about sexual stuff or torture? I thought I did. And he said...
you know, it's all, the satanic, you know, things are all pretty much the same. And what's funny about it is, you know, a lot of these CIA programs have a mix of that kind of stuff.
Were there like sacrifices made in David's?
Well, like he said, he has a lot of things that he doesn't remember, but he does remember when they get together and the you know, the rituals. And so, I mean, there's certain things he remembers. So yes, he did suffer a lot of that stuff. And
that's horrible.
When he made a decision, they asked him if he was, this part I can tell you, this is very clear to me. They asked him if he was going to serve Lucifer, and he said no. And that's where his real torture started.
Oh, man. I'm really fascinated by what a sex kitten is. I can't get over that term. I never heard that bore. I mean, I've heard the term,
right?
Like sex pod or something, but not as like somebody being trained by the government to be one.
Well, it's all about learning how these technologies can. You've heard of the voice of God that they did overseas, didn't you? The voice of God.
Voice of God.
Yeah.
You didn't know about the voice of God technology?
Jake has.
Jake.
Although he didn't sound too convincing, he went, yeah, I have.
I haven't heard about it at all.
Well, they beamed a voice to all the people, and they surrendered. They tested it, and that's actually documented. That is a government documentation.
There's another Wired article about it.
What do you mean beamed a voice? Like everybody's just hanging out doing their paths, and then they're like, Jesus has returned, and then everybody just got down on the ground?
Well, I'm not sure which God it was. It may have been Allah. I think it was Allah that they were pretending to be, but it was called the voice of God technology, and it's real.
It projects a voice in your head
and it worked
to make you think God is speaking to you. It's the military's equivalent of an urban myth.
But all these weapons are being tested, and they're very scary technology, and there has to be some control on it.
That sounds insane. So they're actually sending messages because we were talking to a guy once, and we asked him, "Is like, you know, are these voices happening?" I don't know if he said if they were in his own voice. Like, are they in your own voice, or is it like seriously somebody like sitting behind a microphone talking?
Well, they have on the Smithsonian network. They have a beam where they showed a demonstration to the children where they had this technical equipment, and the kids were all studying in the library, and they spoke to them. It went right to their brain, and they all looked up and looked around at each other like, "What's going on?" And then they pulled the kids in and showed them this is what we used and blah, blah, blah. So there is a simple way to understand it.
So it sounds like, does it sound like it's coming through your ears? Like, does it sound like somebody's actually in the room talking to you? Or is it just straight up?
I don't have V2K, so it's harder for me to understand. I don't have that. But the V2K technology, the ones they're torturing with that, it comes right through their brain.
Okay, because, we asked the guy, we were interviewing him, we said, is this happening to you right now? And he said, yes. And I said, what is the voice saying? And he said, you're dead. You're no, no,
Yeah,
no,
it's
no.
kind
It
of
was
like
no.
weird voices.
No, he said you're a dead motherfucker. That's what it was. He said he had a voice in his head telling him that he's a dead motherfucker when he was talking to us.
Yeah, they do. They do that, but it's just criminals. They're just criminals that are testing this technology to perfect it so they can use it on, people that are important that they want to turn. They want to turn and let them think it's their own thoughts. Very scary.
See,
now I'll give you one example of something that happened to me that happened to my family. I went down to the basement and I was doing clothes, and I seen a very large crowfoot come out and scratched my toe, actually scratched it, okay? But I didn't leave a mark, right? And I screamed and ran upstairs. Now, this is a bird's claw, coming out. And I told the boys, I said, look, something just clawed me. It's under the washer. And they said, oh, Mom, come on. They went down. And there was marks on the pavement right there, like where it had some soap and stuff. And you could see, like, where something had run across there. And they were all freaked out, and I was freaked out. But, they have what they call holograms. And a lot of my pictures, I have, like, weird faces inserted in it. I have different things that like when they drive with cars, I've had things that looks like there's a mask on the top of the car. They're holograms. So it can trick you. Like, it looked very real to me.
That's
I really
bizarre,
thought
man. That's bizarre. I mean, that really, 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 really make you think you're going nuts.
See,
right. But my boys seen the scratches on. It was like I had some soap on the floor, and you could see the scratch marks through the soap. So it wasn't like I was making it up, and it was right by where the washer was, and it was just really weird. And at that time,
so the hologram made a scratch.
Huh? What?
It was a hologram bird, and it left a scratch on the floor.
No, I mean, I didn't notice it. It probably was put there earlier. You see what I mean? I was just washing clothes, and then that thing came out, and when we went down, they had, made it look like, yeah, this really happened. The next morning, there was a dead crow in the yard.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Now, when we were talking about why would they test it on specific people? Because now that you put it in my head that they're testing, and they're in that phase instead of just trying to target somebody.
They don't really know what they're doing.
I would think that they would. I would think that they would target somebody who is like a loser, a nobody, like some poor sap. Somebody the square community wouldn't give a shit about.
Right.
Well, they do. They. Matter of fact, a lot of times, the victims of illegal and experimentation is people who have been diagnosed with mental illnesses. I just really think.
But I think you probably wouldn't want to do it to somebody who had mental illness. It seems like you'd want someone with a great board of health or a clear, what do they call that?
Clear
bill of health. Just so that there's a control subject, so that if you got somebody who's a heroin junkie, the heroin might interact with how the thing's being tested.
Well, that's when it comes to the brain mapping.
That's probably why they picked a nice straight-laced lady like you.
They want people who are smart and who are alert. Because the brain mapping is actually taking your emotions and your feelings and your reactions to the bad things they're doing, and they're actually putting it into as data into a computer to use for either like making robots real. That's one of the projects.
So you're saying they're never going to do this? They're never going to do this to me because I'm too dumb.
No, I'm saying that different experiments, they use different types of people, and I'm sure you're pretty bright if you're doing this. But, I'm just saying, I'm not, like, exceptionally smart or anything, but I'm just saying that if somebody had a very low IQ and they were doing brain mapping, and like you were saying that if there's someone who is so, strung out, they're not going to be a good test subject, especially if they're trying to manipulate somebody who is smart or someone who is in a powerful position. They're going to pick people to practice on that would be a challenge. So a lot of the victims that have been coming forward, these are smart people that have just had these random, bizarre things happen in their lives.
But they're all from,
and
it's amazing how everybody's from all different walks of life, we've interviewed, how old was that lady in Boston? Kind of an older lady, and we also interviewed a guy who he was, like a young kid, like 23 or something.
The gang.
And no, that guy was like when he in his 30s. Yeah, we interviewed we interviewed a guy who was like completely tattooed up, and he was like convicted of all sorts of crimes. He's a gang member, like of some crazy gang out here in Indianapolis and Chicago.
And the other guy was in the Army or something, right? Like a staff sergeant.
Oh, I forgot about him. Yeah, then we spoke to a guy who was the staff sergeant in the Army, who was a black guy.
That was the guy that he said they were trying to get him to do porno in the Army.
Yeah.
That's correct.
Well, do you know the last name is Jackson? I'm trying to think of the first name. He worked under the staff of President Obama, and he has come forward with that. They actually seen to it that he lost his job, and he is being tortured with these weapons. He's in this program. His last name's Jackson, and he actually protected Michelle Obama and worked with the Clintons, and somehow. He ended up in this. He said that he feels they picked him because he was a single person and, committed his life to work, didn't have a strong, support system around him. So that kind of falls with what a lot of people feel is that, a lot of people had careers or whatever but didn't have a real strong social setting. And so they can isolate you and get away with it.
Jake, do you have anything that you want to add, Jake? Any questions? Because I hate it when people, because we got to wrap this up soon, Patty, but I hate it when we talk to people and then afterwards somebody's like Jake will be like, man, I should have said, or I wanted to say this. I was going to say that. So now's your opportunity. Because I see the spotlight. You looks like you've written down 15 things over there.
Oh, you got stuff written down, Jake?
No.
Oh, I don't even want to know what he wrote down. It's probably his grocery list.
Jake, what are you writing over there?
Got it.
All right.
I will say that the photo, like Patty sent me a photo of like a photon beam coming in your window, right?
Yes.
And it looked
the plasma beam.
And it looked a lot like the picture of the Instructables site where they say make your own laser,
Right.
Oh.
That's all I got. I've been holding on to that one the whole time.
We'll put that on the website.
yeah. Check out the website, chrisbreakshow.com. You'll see the pictures.
Yeah,
I gave him some good pictures.
Yeah, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to come on and speak with us, Patty.
No, and I just want to say to everyone that hey, this is real, and it's good people, and it shouldn't be happening.
I believe.
And thank you so much for allowing us to voice it here.
Yeah, I believe. Out of the 8 targeted individuals we've spoken to, I believe you were the most. You made the best case?
Definitely.
Well, when I'm allowed to talk about it, I'll give you even a better case.
All right.
Because believe me, I've got a lot of goods on this whole thing. So everything I'm telling you is I can back it up, but I just can't say it right now because that's how a case goes. You can't give your stuff out. So.
All right. Yeah, we'll stay in touch and have you back on some point in the future.
Okay. All righty.
All right, say bye to David for me.
Bye, David.
No, you got to say bye to him for me because he hung up. His phone's off.
I thought he was back on. I thought you got him back on.
No.
Never got a hold of him again.
Oh, okay. I thought you did. See, I could never hear him, so I was just thinking he was listening. Okay.
Yeah, thanks for bearing with that.
All right, have a good night.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye. See ya. This is the Chris Break Show live every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on strangelabel.com. You know what? I like that girl.
Yep.
Yeah, she changed my mind a bit, I think.
She was more convincing.
Yes.
It sounded together.
Yeah, I don't want to be rude, but all the other people sound like maniacs.
Yeah, and I finally realized today that, if they are under this mind control and stuff, I guess they wouldn't be that good at talking about it probably.
Yeah, if you got some guy telling you you're a dead motherfucker in your head the whole time you're talking, you'd be kind of freaked out. Like, I can't even have a conversation on somebody when they got the speakerphone on and my words are coming back to me, let alone them being words that some guy sitting in a cubicle sending to me.
Which you did that to the guy. You put the wah-wah, the reverb on his voice when he was talking at one point. And most people, when you do that to him, they'll stop talking. They'll be like, what's going, he just went with it. Like, it didn't even shake him at all. Like,
whoa.
He just went through it like that, you know. It was not
I'm trying to remember what I did.
It was a reverb or something.
No, it wasn't. It was echo.
Yeah, echo, but it's the same.
I fed the Let me see if I can find it. No, it wasn't.
You don't have an effect button for that. You have to kind of manipulate the board.
No, I got it somewhere. What? Yeah, there's an effect button somewhere. You have to talk. It's on you.
Check. But yeah, it was feed the voice of just whoop 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 whoop. And you did that to me one time, and I couldn't do it. And again, there's that app.
Oh, an app that just gives you nonsense.
Yeah. It makes it impossible to talk. Like they have videos on YouTube of people using it. I think it's called Speech Jammer.
Really?
Yeah.
I gotta find this. I don't know which one it is, John. I got a list. You know? There's a list somewhere that has all these effects.
Here you go. Listen to this.
There we go.
That was very cool. Yep. That's already messing me up, dude. But
hello, and welcome to Speech Jammer Storytime. Today's book: Blackfish, Bluefish, Old Fish, New Fish.
Oh wait, I'm doing that.
Oh no! This one has a little card.
What are you doing?
It's a video of he's got headphones on and he can hear his own voice.
Oh.
Blah, 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 but on the recording you can't hear it.
Why don't you turn that up a little bit?
Some are old and some are new.
That's as loud as this one
Some are
is.
sad and some are glad.
So
some are very
I want to hear it. So
bad.
you're telling me that what's happening?
Why are they sad and glad and bad? I do not know. Go ask your dad.
What's coming into his voice, his head?
What
the effect you have on our voices is what he's hearing
has a yellow
in his head.
But it's not making me do that.
From there to here to here to here to there to there.
It's the same idea.
It's
probably yeah, right. It's probably real maxed out to where you keep talking, makes trying to read something.
And in the hot sun. Oh me, oh my, what a lot of funny things going on.
I don't. This sounds like a put on.
Some have
not. You hear the app and trying to get download that. I don't have a phone. Do the app. Try this on Jake.
You say it's Speech Jammer?
Yes, Speech Jammer.
Long way.
He's reading green egg. One fish, blue fish, whatever.
See them go. Some are fast, and some are slow.
But
it's a regular guy, you know, not somebody with any speech impediment.
But I don't get it. You should be.
It makes you talk like that. That's the.
But it doesn't sound like what's happening in your headphones right now, does it?
It's the same idea. I don't know what it sounds like because I've never actually had it.
Look at his finger.
I'm looking for one.
1, 2, 3. How many fingers do I see? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7,
some weird song or something, you know?
8, 9, 10.
Put that on the vocalist.
11.
He's having a good time over there.
Yeah,
I wish I had an 11.
This guy's stoned, dude.
Listen to this gun review.
He's listening to fucking Pink Floyd in those headphones.
If you watch my channel for any length of time, you know that I don't do a lot of gun reviews. I guess the main reason behind that is I don't feel like I've got enough knowledge about any particular gun that I could educate you on.
I don't like this guy.
You couldn't just go out and read in the owner's manual. But I'm going to turn the device on and you'll know when it's working because my speech is going to change a lot. Here we go.
It's an app that you download. I can't download because I don't have a phone.
The first gun I would like to review with you is my Beretta 92. My Beretta 92 is a lot like the Beretta 92 that you're accustomed to seeing the military using. There are some differences between
I need an extra set of headphones.
One of the main differences is this is chambered in 40 Smith & Wesson, not 9mm, not 9mm.
Do you have the app, Jake?
Not 9mm like. Not 9mm like the ones they use in the military. It's a double single.
Here's an online stutter box. But keep going.
Jake, there's blue headphones hanging on the wall.
Okay.
I recommend the blue ones. Those are Dr. Roberts and his wife brought over, and she never took back. He never brought over those headphones, but they're still here. Those fucking wives, right? I'll tell you.
What's Jake gonna read?
He'll read this Dawson's Creek script.
Let's give this to Chris Brake.
Huh? No way, buddy. Hold on, I'll act it out with you. Here we go.
Not going to be able to hear you.
That's okay. Yeah, just read the whole thing. All right. I'm not quite sure exactly what we're doing here. Can you help me out, John? I don't.
Jake is going to read that, but it's going to sound really stupid.
I can't talk. I sound stupid when I talk anyways. When I read.
But it's going to sound like that.
Supposedly. All right.
Should I just
Wait, what's that do?
I've got a stutter box on.
All right, Jake, are you going to do this?
Yeah, I'm getting this.
Why is this not happening right now?
Yes, it is. Yes, to a degree. Because the stutter box is on.
Shut up.
You know what we need that stupid song.
What song? Trap Zone? or the yacht?
Yeah, the yacht.
All right, Jake, do this. Do this straight-faced.
Working on it.
Stutterbox is an online speech jamming app for Google Chrome. Speech jammer inhibits
I don't think this is going to be a problem.
Speaking incoherent sentences due to the brain being confused by the slight delay in the auditory feedback.
Are you okay? Not so much. What's wrong?
This motherfucker started. Well,
it's the
he's got it on his headphones.
It's killing me.
Yeah.
How can a guy? Okay. All this thing does is play back my voice back to me.
Right.
Keep going.
Right.
Do that whole page.
Try to read it though. With
I mean, I'm not doing the one.
Do the whole page. Give
Pacey, you're not supposed to compete. Well, I can't read, man.
Just try as hard as you can, I guess, to keep doing it.
What?
Try as hard.
Don't give up or whatever.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
You can do it, man.
You
gotta get over that wall, man.
Little arrangement we've got going on between us. Yes. Well, it sucks. It sucks up one. And down the other. It's uncomfortable. It's weird, and I hate every single second of it. Yes.
Really?
For a bright girl, you can be
really daft sometimes.
Why do you think I came?
I came here to be with you.
Oi!
I came here to be.
Pace begins to walk away.
He skipped a whole.
Oh, that was the narrator. I felt. Yeah. What?
He's moving on to the next page.
Page turns.
It doesn't sound like he's enjoying that.
I'm
dying to hear what it sounds like.
Yeah, just read.
Like I want to try
read the whole thing. Like don't skip them.
This morning,
your
arm brushed up against me in bed, and I felt it. How did it feel? It made me feel alive. Okay, Joey.
I'm going to kiss you now.
I'm going to kiss you. You can't. Look, Joe. See, you talking, you whispering.
Oh, you can hear me?
Yes.
Oh.
These aren't the best headphones, you know.
Well, turn it up. It's louder.
Oh, you've got crappy headphones? Like, these people have, like, their iPhone headphones in, like,
No,
noise.
he's got decent headphones.
Okay. What, I just need to turn it up?
It should be as loud as it can go. I mean, can you hear me right now?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
Jake, why don't you sound like this?
Oh, it hears me. I'm coming through on the thing.
Yeah.
Well, that should make it even harder, right?
Yeah, Jake, hold that up to your mouth.
Yeah, it's crazy. Hold it up to my mouth.
Oh, Jake's got a whole tackle box plugged into his phone.
Tackle box. Jesus.
Why does here it is on Reddit? Why does this work? Or what's the deal? In case you don't know what it is, why does hearing an echo cause you to become incapable of creating coherent sentences? Speech. Well, this just assumes that it does work. You don't just think of a sentence in your mind.
Try the app
from vocal memory. Your brain is constantly monitoring your voice.
What are you doing, Jake?
I feel like I'm on it. I'm on it. Am I not on it? Am I not on it?
I was pointing it towards you so I could hear you.
Oh.
Oh.
But we can't hear what's coming out of those headphones.
Yeah.
Well,
right, let me give this a try.
I'm
going to use my headphones. I'm plugging this thing in. Thanks, Jake. Okay. Check. Yeah, John. This sounds kind of exactly what I was describing. I'm turning it up really loud. Okay, let's try this.
So this is you've plugged it in. Are we hearing the speech jammer?
I can hear you.
on it.
You're not hearing the speech jammer. I can though. I'm supposed to try and read this and see if this thing works or if these people on YouTube are put on. We entered the scene finding Pacey and Joey outside of Aunt Gwen's house where they're spending their spring break. Joey went to find Pacey after he left the living room where Dawson and Joey were singing Daydream Believer together with the karaoke machine. Are you okay? Not so much, no. Joey, what's wrong? Pacey, well, it's a history. It's killing me. How can a guy compete when you two have your own karaoke routine? Joey, Pacey, you're not supposed to compete. We're supposed to have our own his. She stops. I didn't mean that. Pacey, well, what did you mean? Joey, I don't know anymore. Pacey, you know this little argument we've got going on between us? Joey, yes. Pacey, well, it sucks. It sucks up one side and down the other. It's uncomfortable. It's weird every single second. Does that do anything weird at all?
I don't think so.
I got
the speech jammer. What? You were on the speech
the whole time.
In your ear?
Yeah. Well, now it's going to do a phones thing.
Carved into the slide.
Why doesn't it sound like that?
Frame. It has a rail right here. And it usually comes with a change.
I still hear the guy on YouTube.
Yeah, I just turned it on for a second.
Okay.
But like, why don't either of you guys sound crazy like that?
All right.
Okay, I plugged the speech jammer into the phone. This is what I was hearing the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. It's quite strange. But I don't know how this would get you to mess up words. You know.
Yeah, like that guy was stuttering. Like.
All right, it's time to wrap up this show. All right, Jake. Here's your phone back. Or let you do what you want to. You know. All right, you got that song? You got that song, John?
Yeah.
Excuse me.
Speech jammer, I don't know.
Yeah, I think those people on YouTube are full of shit.
They just try to get you to buy the speech jammer.
Oh, you got to pay for that?
No, maybe, I don't know.
Jake, did you pay for this?
No.
That's why it didn't work.
Oh.
Yeah, there's probably a paid version.
I just turned on a camera. Hi, hey, it's Chris Break Show with Jake and John Rapp. We're closing out. I'd like to thank Darren Snyder at Indian Tune and Mike Moore at Wheelbarrow Full of Dicks and John G at 405 Media and Mike Moore at Wheelbarrow Full of Dicks and Mary Elizabeth Rumsey at meandrhyme.wordpress.com.
What's so funny about that, Jake?
And Rich Barker from Punk Rock Night at themelodyinn.com. And Jake, he would like to thank...
I hear an echo. Ron at Radio Mix Music. Jeremy at Couch Potato Nation. Mark at Tangent Mountain Network. Jack at The Mix FM. Suma Peters at Loudtown Online Radio. The Pub Radio.
Jake, you're making these sound so boring.
Let's skip down the line.
Like these are really cool guys.
Tom, I don't know.
No, I'm telling you, these are really cool guys. You don't want to just brush through them.
TalkStream Live.
Jake, you can't just brush through them. You can't just slur your way.
Radio Network.
These guys' names. You got to show
better
some excitement.
Voice fucker up than this fucking
you can be a better voice fucker up. You just got to do it. Put some
Toby at Radio Blitz.
Oh, that wasn't bad.
The Mars Sound Man.
No, you dropped back down. That one you did was about
the
3.
Mars Sound Man at United Sound. Tico at FJS Radio. See, some of these names aren't so.
Sandmound is the weirdest name. That's the weird. I wouldn't have been able to read that either. It's Sound Man, right?
Think of the Mars.
The Mars Sound Man.
Peter at Cornucopia
It's supposed to be
Big Nate on the air at Cover Charge Radio.
It's supposed to be Sound Man. He said Sand Mound.
So maybe it does have an effect after 5 minutes.
Ron at Radio Max Music. Come on, Jake, say it like this. Jeremy at Couch Potato Nation.
Mark at Tangent Bound Nation.
Tangent Bound Network. But you should have see at the end when you drop down the nation, you should have taken it up.
Yeah, shit.
Pretend you're a wrestler.
A wrestler? What does that have to do with anything?
Just shoot a promo.
Jack at the Mix FM.
Oh, I like that. I like that one.
Suma Peters at Loudtown on the Line Radio.
Now you sound like you're trying to be an asshole to me. Like, Suma Peters at Loudtown online radio.
Let's address that. There is no S on his name, right? Suma Peters?
Oh, yeah, there's no S.
That's there.
Is there really?
Tuma?
Yeah, Suma.
Yeah.
Suma.
Peter.
Oh.
Both of those.
Tom at TalkStream Live.
Mike at IRN Internet Radio Network.
Toby at Radio Blitz. What? The Mars Sound Man. At United Sound Choice.
We should get that guy on the show.
Tico at FJS Radio. Peter at Cornucopia Broadcasting. Big Nate on the air.
Big Nate.
At Cover Charge Radio.
All right. Thanks, Jake.
Twice.
Oh, you did do them twice. Plus
that for last time.
We have to pay you overtime.
True. Time and a half.
Oh, wait, I'm not supposed to be the one that does that.
Okay, thank you very much. I hope you play it. And I know this is recording. And I hope you play it. Okay, see you guys.